So this is interesting. Brand new to all this. I've never gone live before, and I figured all this out today. Camera, microphone, all the things. I'm curious what the sound is like. I'm waiting to see if anybody loads in to give me the thumbs up on the audio if anybody joins here. And just kind of looking at the chat to see if anybody shows up. I do have some tea that I'm sipping on here. So, brand new thing for me. I was thinking about doing this a while ago and just never made it happen. And I was curious to see how it might work and if it might actually be an easier path for videos. Now, it's not going to replace my regular videos, but it is a way to get out there on a regular basis, once a week, doing a live just to see if I get some engagement, if people join in to see. It looks like somebody joined in. David, welcome. If you can hear me, let me know what the sound is like. Send me a quick message. David Mirror Photography, an amazing channel on YouTube. He is fantastic, has been a huge resource for me. David, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. And audio spot on. Love it. So, what I want to do tonight is talk about film photography and where I'm going to be heading in 2026 with my film photography. I have to get used to looking at the camera here. Just to let you know my setup. So, I have an Insta360 Ace Pro on the other side of my laptop, and that's connected with a Thunderbolt cable to my laptop. And I've got obviously this microphone on a boom arm, and that's connected to the laptop as well for sound. And I'm really curious when I look at this afterwards what it looks like. But I want to talk about film photography and the different cameras I'm using and the different film stocks. I'll only talk as long as maybe people are interested. If anybody else joins in, if you are, or if you have a question, go ahead and throw it out there. Uh, but yeah, it's nice to do something where I'm not going to have to do any editing. David, I'm sure you're aware what that's like. Uh, it's a process and it can take hours upon hours to make that happen. But I want to put a lot of energy into these lives as well and just see where I can take them. So let's talk about film cameras. I have two primary film cameras that I'm using. One is the Nikon FE2, and that's this camera right here. And I've had this camera since 1985, and I've been shooting with it ever since. I did take a little break when I first started shooting digital in 2004 for about 7 years. I really didn't use this camera that much. But the Nikon FE2 is an amazing camera. This thing has lasted over the years, really haven't had to do much work on it. I did drop it once and I damaged the ISO ring, and they were able to repair it, and that worked out. So that was awesome. And it's got a 4,000th of a second for shutter speed, which I love because it allows me to shoot wide open and just is different than my other camera, which is the Leica M6, which only goes to 1,000th of a second. But the FE2, it's a standard SLR, and it's got the 50 millimeter f1.8 on it. Nikkor lens. It's the original lens that I purchased with it. I do have a 70 to 210 as well that I actually shoot with on occasion. I've shot air shows with that, races, all kinds of different things. And actually thinking about taking it out. I've seen some bird photography, and I want to see if I can get some birds with that 70 to 210 and see what that might look like and have some fun with that. Um, but the film that I'm shooting for the FE2, I'm pretty much going to be shooting Ektar, and that's going to be my regular color film that I'm going to be using. It's a Kodak Professional film color. And then for my other camera, the 400 TX or Tri-X. Let's see. Another great film stock that I've been using for many years. Tri-X has been around for forever, and it's an amazing film stock. So let's see if there's any other comments. Nope. So um, every once in a while, I'll take a look at the chat. Don't want to miss out on anything that you might ask if you have a question or something you're interested in. Uh, this is once again brand new to me. I'm just winging it right now and having fun with it, see where it goes. So that FE2, just a great camera. It's very basic ISO, shutter speed, aperture, all the basics, all the things that you need for photography and nothing more. It is, yeah, just that basic no LCD screen across the top. It's just got knobs, dials for those functions, and it can do double exposure. There's actually a little lever on the winder that allows me to do double exposure as well, and something I want to play with in the future. It has a threaded shutter release, which is great. I actually have the cable for that. I used to do timed exposures with that, with the FE2 way back when. Um, but yeah, it's a tank. And I'm just stoked that it's still working after all these years. I did have it, I don't know if they call it CLA'd for the SLRs, but yeah, it's just a cleaning, and they redid the seal to make sure that the light seal was good, and gave it the once over, and it is fantastic. So just a great camera that I've had for years. I'm assuming that's a joke, David. Yes, 35 millimeter, the ultimate in full frame. So the other camera, Leica M6. And yeah, jumped on the bandwagon about 3.5, almost 4 years ago with this camera, but it had been kind of that holy grail for me as a kid. I could never in a million years afford it until I was in my late 50s, and then finally scrounged up enough money to make it happen. I am shooting a Voigtlander lens. I actually got grief at the Leica store for having a Voigtlander lens on it. It's kind of a funny other story that I may tell at some point. But Voigtlander, this is the 50 millimeter f. Let's see, there's a 1.4 and a 1.5 that I have. This one's the 1.5. I do have the 35 millimeter f1.4 as well, just that different focal length, but I love shooting 50 millimeter. That is my kind of go-to field of view. Has been since I was a kid with the FE2, and I think that's why I have been shooting with the Leica Q2 28 millimeter. That was a big stretch for me when I bought that camera, to be able to shoot 28 millimeter and look at the world in a different way. But it was actually really cool. Sorry, some tea, just kind of clearing the throat. David, any questions? Anything you'd like to ask? Other than, is that a full frame camera? Anything is fair game. Feel free. It doesn't have to be about film cameras, can be about other things as well. But I am open. So my idea with lives is that it's a conversation. And what I'm hoping to do is, if I do it, week over week over week, that I'll build a group of people that could be able to show up on a regular basis and just see where that could end up. Now, yeah, I've got David in here right now. And if we end up with more people, that's fantastic. I'm curious if other people come on in. But if I do it on a regular basis every week, figure you can count on it, and then join in if you'd like, ask those questions, and maybe even start up a conversation with other people that join in also, and kind of working towards building a community. That's really important for me in this whole adventure. I'm really not in it for the money. I mean, yes, it would be great to make money off of this YouTube channel, but I, this is my passion. This is my love. This is what I do, regardless of whether there are people interacting with me or subs or all those things. Those are amazing. And I love the fact that I've got over 1,000 subs on this channel and want to build a community from that. And it's something that I'm going to need your help to make happen. So anything that you think that I can do in order to foster that community, I'd love to hear any suggestions. Let's see. So, how do you choose which film stock to use based on your love of black and white? Yeah, great question. I have shot many film stocks. So, HP5, FP4 on Ilford side. I have shot different Kodak uh, stocks as well. But Tri-X, for whatever reason, it's got that contrast that I love. And then I also apply either a red filter on my FE2. I actually have it right here, my red filter. And as you know, David's aware, it's like he's seen my images, but I'm really big on contrast and the definition in black and white. And that Tri-X is known for being very contrasty, and it gives those deeper blacks, that more definition, that darker sky, and it really creates that look that I'm going for. Film is totally different than digital in that I have to rely on what I've shot. I can't do as much in post. The files just aren't, they're not going to have as much leeway, as much to work with. So when you're that shot, you really have to get it right in camera. And that's the way I learned photography before digital even existed, was that you wanted to shoot full frame and not have to crop, and also not have to do any editing if that's possible, which means dodging, burning in the dark room, altering your image, really working on different timing and different techniques to create that light and shadow within your image in the developing process. And I'll admit I was never really good at that. So it's really cool that I'm able to do this with digital now after I shoot film. So Tri-X has just been that tried and true film stock for me. And I tend to stick with just that. Now, if I were to shoot portraits in black and white, I love HP5. It's a softer look, and I don't have any yellow filters, but I may actually be purchasing yellow filter. I've been going with yellow filters within Lightroom and using those for my portrait work. Even on film images, it just creates that softer, kind of a lighter gray tone for my images. And HP5 gives me that look. And it's just the way that I work with HP5 and the way that I expose my images just works for portraits. So I actually have a bunch of images. And I'm going to be doing another video talking about my film cameras, where I'm going to put images in for both, so you can check those out. So yeah, it is really important which film stock you shoot with. I shoot both color and black and white, but predominantly black and white. But I do love color film stocks as well. I really like Ektar, as well as let's see, there's one other film stock, and it's the Pan. Let's see, I think I have a roll here somewhere. Oh, that's the Superior. Yep, here it is. So it is the Pan 200, the Kentmere Pan. So that actually is a really great film stock, and it's something that I've been playing with recently. And it's only 24 exposures, but I've been having fun with that with black and white. So that actually black and white film stock. So Kentmere Pan, there are a couple of images that I did recently where I had some wires and a building in the background. I'll put that in my next video so that people can check it out. That way you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, Kentmere Pan has a really specific look to it, and I really like it, but you need a lot of light for that 200 speed. All my other film stocks are 400 speed. It gives me a lot more leeway with that ISO. With that set ISO with film, you really have to make sure that you're shooting the right film stock. And that has to do with how much chemistry is actually on the film itself as to collecting light. And you really have to be careful with the different film stocks as to how much light you need in order to capture an image. So just gives you that specific look and feel to that film. So yeah, great question. Let's see what else. So Leica M6. So the Leica M6 it's a heavy camera. It's actually heavier than my FE2 when I compare the two, which is interesting because it's a thinner body, but that all metal construction, and the lens is all metal, where the Nikon lens, there's a lot of plastic on that as well, which makes it lighter. It is a rangefinder, which is a challenge and was totally different. And that's the reason I actually purchased it, was because I wanted to learn something new in photography and push myself and do something different that would excite me. And it has been a blast playing with it and using that rangefinder and getting better at making images quicker. I know that people talk about slowing down with the rangefinder system, but my goal is to be able to kind of set it and then not worry about it. And using that, range whether it's, how many feet in front of you, and then choosing shutter speed and aperture that are going to work for that distance. And it actually has that scale on the lens. So you've got the hash marks that will show you what f-stop and what distance that you're going to be potentially in focus. And then also using that rangefinder patch for that distance as well. So it's going to, as you as you turn the focus knob, it's going to line up with whatever f-stop for that distance. And if you leave it at that and then you wander, you're actually going to get some pretty cool images and not have to worry as much about focus. Let's see. Can you explain your process from getting a shot from film into Lightroom to allow digital editing? That is something you don't fully get. I totally understand. So, a lot of people scan their own images, and I don't. Just the amount of time that I have with a full time job and a family, I send it off to a lab. And there are different size scans that you can get from the lab. And what I do is I send my film off and they scan it, and then they send me a link to a download page. And then I download TIFFs. And I'd have to look at the resolution, but it is kind of, 11 by 14 would be a solid print for the size that I get. And what I then do with that is I just treat it just like any other digital image. And I load it into Lightroom the same way I would my raw files. And I, put it within the catalog, and then I do all the similar editing with it. So, yeah, the process is actually very simple and very clean and very easy. Now, there are a lot of plugins that you can get where you can convert a negative as well within Lightroom. So it's a third-party plugin. I don't have the name of it offhand, but you can get that third-party plugin and then do that inversion within Lightroom and make that happen there. A lot of photographers like to do it that way if they have the time to actually scan their own images. It's something I've thought about, but once again, time is, that pesky thing, and I don't always have a ton of time. So I'm bringing it right into Lightroom, and then I use a lot of Lightroom's filters, but not as much with my film images. I tend to leave them as is because I really want to preserve that look and feel of the film stock. So it's very minor, the editing that I'm doing. I even try to avoid masks when it comes to film images because I want to, once again, preserve the raw nature of that image as it came from the lab. So I might brighten or darken, I might do other things, just minor tweaks, but really not spending a ton of effort and time within Lightroom with those images. Let's see, another question. What is the cost per roll to develop film? And is that a significant consideration, especially when you add that to the cost of the film? Yeah. So, one of the great things about shooting black and white is it is the least expensive of film. So, I'm actually paying anywhere between $6 and $8 a roll, which really for me isn't that big a deal. And then I'm using the darkroom in Southern California. I send it off and I pay $20 a roll. So that's a total cost of $26 for each roll. So if I do what, 2, 4, probably 8 rolls a month, that's not an extreme cost, and it's not gonna, be, cost prohibitive for me. I probably spent that much, if not more, because I did a lot more rolls of film when I was younger, and I was spending a ton of money on film and on processing as well. Some I did in the darkroom, but, the majority I was sending out, except for when I was working in a lab, and that was the best deal ever. So it really wasn't that bad cost uh, currently. I mean, you can, pay full price for, Portra. If you want Portra 400 or the other Portra possibilities, you're going to pay for that. And you're looking at a much higher cost. I use Film Photography Project is a great website, and they have lower costs for film. I'd have to look at the current cost that I'm paying for Portra. I can't quote that right now, but it is a much higher cost, and it's probably in the $10 to $12 per roll range. So you're looking at a much higher cost. So around what? So that would be $32 for a single roll with processing. So yeah, it's not that bad. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, so I don't really worry. I'm not shooting so much film that it's an issue. I think if I were doing just film and not shooting digital, I would have to really look at my budget a little bit deeper and decide how much film do I really need to shoot or want to shoot, and then it would be a bigger consideration. I'm not walking around with a huge plastic bag full of rolls of film. I'm going to be carrying with me maybe 4 or 5 rolls of film. I have a little film holder here. I love this thing. And then I've got, 4 or 5 rolls of film. I got to fill it up, but I usually have about 5 rolls of film in there that I'm carrying with me. So I have choices depending on where I am and what I'm shooting. I can choose different film stocks and play with that. But usually it's got a couple rolls of the Tri-X and then a couple of other rolls of the Ektar, so that I've got both color and black and white, depending on the situation. So yeah, see if did I miss anything? I'm a master of black and white. You are too kind. I appreciate that. Sorry, I have to squint and look at this screen. So let me read this out. So let's see. You have mentioned how you see in black and white when you are out shooting. Can you give some advice on what that means? Yeah. When you're looking at different colors, different buildings, different textures, the lighting, over time, just like any photography, over time, when you're somewhere, you can kind of feel what your settings need to be. And it's no different with black and white. When I approach a location, I'm looking at all the different possibilities. There's one image that I have that's of a scooter. And I was looking at that image today, and there's a lot going on in that image where I have a crosswalk with the broad white and dark stripes. And then I've got buildings in the background. There's a red building and another light colored building. And I'm looking for that contrast between different objects. There's even a shadow of the light post that I'm standing near is also on the street. So added benefit for black and white, because black and white is going to pick up all that detail in those shadows, in those different colors that show up when you're shooting black and white. So there's a lot going on in the moment, really figuring out kind of that like vision. And it's because of shooting for many years in different situations that I can really take a look at that and see that and really interact with it and have a blast with it and just make those images. So it's, seeing in black and white. There's actually a video on my channel where I talk about seeing in black and white. It's just a process over time of knowing what situations work and what situations don't. I know that I'm not going to include a ton of sky when I'm shooting black and white. I am going to avoid it because it shows a ton of grain and it's really hard to get the detail and the lighting for that sky. And that's a choice I make based on the style of photography that I have. It's more going to be, that tree, that texture, or the grass, the path through the grass, that's going to show up in black and white. So I'm looking for definition in light and shadow. And it's kind of hard to explain. And I'm really glad that you're asking, because I really need to think about that process and really dive deeper into it as I look at the world. There's that one image that I took of the Golden Gate Bridge through chain link, and that just screamed black and white for me because there was so much definition in so many different aspects of that image that it just worked in black and white. The sky, the bridge, the chain link, everything. You can find these images on my blog, on my website, weinbergimages.com. And there's all kinds of images in black and white and in color as well. But yeah, thanks for asking that great question. Let's see. Oh, Arctic North Adventures, welcome. Good to see you. I appreciate you coming in. So let's see if you have any questions. Good morning. Actually, it's good evening here, but fantastic. I know that you're way up there in the Arctic, and I enjoyed your video. That was just fantastic. I have to check out your channel lately, see what you've created. So let's see. Great, you guys are chatting each other up. This is the whole plan for this, is that people can show up and have a conversation within the chat, ask me questions, all kinds of things, and it's live. It's real. I don't have to worry about editing, and I don't have that pressure, making that video. And I think I can be more real and authentic and share a different side of me through this and just have a blast with it. So let's see. Do we have any questions? Do you set your camera up to display black and white through the viewfinder or on the LCD? No, don't worry about it. That's a great question. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I always shoot in RAW, but I actually do have a black and white mode. So for the Leica Q2, it has a great black and white mode that gives me a preview, but I edit from the raw file. So I'm not using that black and white JPEG. It's going to have both the JPEG and the raw file. And then I edit from the raw file. All the black and white, through the viewfinder shows me is what the possibilities are. And it gives me an idea of what that image could look like. But I'm also looking at the environment. I'm looking at my settings, and I know that I'm going to be able to work with that raw file. With my Fuji X-T4, yes, I do also set that up with black and white so that I have both the raw file and the black and white filters. But those are going to look totally different because of the way those cameras are set up and the way the black and white filters work. But once again, when you're editing from a raw file, you have all that information and you're able to then edit from that raw information and get that amazing black and white image. I do tend to use the red filter that's provided by Lightroom. When you go into your filters, when you're editing, you can actually choose different colored filters for black and white. And I do them for different possibilities depending on what I'm shooting. Yellow for portraits. I'm using red for black and white. Let's see, landscapes, streetscapes, things like that. So yeah, great question. Let's see. I find I get better black and white results when I set my camera up to display black and white. Seeing it in real time helps. Yeah, I agree 100%. Setting that up in real time is fantastic. And really having that idea of what that's going to look like. But at the same time, don't limit yourself. Really think about that raw file and then get imaginative with it and play with it with those black and white filters, or just, figuring it out for yourself in the way that you want to edit. There is no right or wrong way to edit it. Some people use the sliders to get rid of the saturation. Some people use the black and white filters to make that happen. You do the way that works for you. And for me, that's what it means to be an artist, is whatever process works best for you, go for it. Play with it. Make it your own. That's how you're going to end up with your own look and feel and your own style. So let's see. Is there another question? Connor, welcome. How's it going? Appreciate you showing up. This is really cool for my first live to have a few people in here. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate it. My voice, man. I gotta grab some tea. So I wonder if it's okay to ask you for some feedback. So, what do you think of this live? What do you think of kind of the whole experience and any feedback that you might give me? I'm really curious. Hope you don't mind me asking. This whole thing is for everyone, not just for me. I want this to be for everyone, and I want to try to figure out ways to make this better. And I don't need to wait until after the fact to really get a feel for what works, what doesn't work. Let's see. So, what you said, you shot in black and white. Your screen is not in color, right? While you are doing it. Maybe you said that, but I'm late in the stream. Yeah. So, I do set it to black and white, and I then use the raw file. So I'm using the raw file to do that edit. And I do set my Fuji X-T4 as well as my Leica Q2 when I'm shooting black and white. Then I go ahead and do that. Now, sometimes I'm shooting color and I have both of them in color. And then I may pull images based on what I see in that color image that might work better in black and white. Or maybe I just didn't want to switch away from the color. Maybe the majority of my images are in color. And then I want to pull an image. That way I have that raw file and I can play with it and do whatever I want with it. But I can tell based on lighting, texture, etc., what's going to look good in black and white. So I don't have to put it in black and white. But yes, if I'm out shooting black and white, then yes, I'm going to set the camera to black and white. So thank you so much, Connor. That's awesome. So he said, I love this. I just dropped in because I saw you on my homepage. I love your background. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Awesome. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I will admit I am not a filmmaker. I'm a photographer that's posing as a filmmaker and YouTuber. Uh, I even after 11 years making YouTube videos, while I can make a pretty decent YouTube video, I need to up my game. And David Muir is a great example of the things that he's capable of. And I need to spend a lot more time when I'm editing my videos. So maybe I'll hit you up for some questions to maybe up my game to get better at my storytelling. Storytelling is huge, and that's something that I've never been great at. I don't think some people beg to differ, but it's always been something that I've struggled with, and it's something I'm working really hard to do more of. And filmmakers, man, that storyline. I've been watching Jake Frew. Jake Frew is an amazing creator online, and he's got some just phenomenal videos, and his storylines are just spot on. But I want to check out some of your stuff, Connor. So let's see. Yeah, not having to edit this. Yeah, I agree, David. Not having to edit this is genius, and I can just let it be. I might even, work on the thumbnail. That'll probably be the most I'll do over the next, 24 hours. Find the right thumbnail that works, or maybe they'll pick one for me that will be fantastic from part of the stream, and it will represent what's going on. Um, but yeah, Star Wars. I have all these great Star Wars action figures. The Black Series are fantastic for the action figures. All the different joints move, even the ankles roll. It's fantastic, and they're a lot of fun. For a while, I was actually doing photography of the Star Wars characters. I even have one in Yosemite where I took the Star Wars characters. I have the who is it? Han Solo and Luke in the stormtrooper gear from episode 4. And you take the helmets off and it's got their faces on there. So those are really cool. But anyway, I digress. So this is a blast. I don't even know what time is it. So we're looking at, so I've been doing this for about half an hour, and yeah, this is fantastic. I appreciate you guys in the comments and the questions. I love it. And let's see, anything else? So let's see. So, not sure if you have said that, but maybe tell me more about your process about finding angle or composition. Yeah, I'm a weird one. I don't plan my shoots. I know that sounds nuts. I don't really have like a grand plan. I've found my best shots come from just wandering somewhere. So the planning would just be picking a location and then wandering around, finding an angle that just works. So when I was in San Francisco and I was cruising around, I stopped at the Golden Gate Bridge and I just went to some spaces within the Golden Gate Bridge that I'd never been to, which there's this path that goes underneath the bridge. And I just discovered the chain link. And I was looking through the chain link. I saw the Golden Gate Bridge. So I've been shooting through chain link a lot lately and through other objects for framing and having a blast with reflections and framing. I think it's just picking something and then shooting it over and over and over and over again in different environments, and just having that idea before you wander of what you are kind of looking for, or even have different projects in your mind when you're traveling to create that composition that's going to work. I know that sounds strange, and a lot of people will go to a specific location looking for a specific lighting and will have it all planned out. That's not me. That's not how I work. It's really random and really kind of bizarre. But I find all these images just randomly wandering a space with my cameras in my hand. And it's just coming upon something and making that image in the moment. I know that sounds strange, but that's how I work. And let's see. So, Connor, it sounds like you're going to have to head out. I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next live. Just checking out my videos. Leave those comments, ask those questions. I appreciate it. I'm going to have to check out your work online, and looking forward to seeing your videos. And somebody else is in. I am a video editor from India. Is any way I can help you? No, I think I'm good. I'm a solo creator. I'm just doing my thing, enjoying it, and just making stuff happen on my own. It's very freeing to not have to worry about anybody else. My family, when I'm cruising around with my family, I avoid using my camera, and I just want to not have to worry about anybody else. And I like just the kind of solo nature of it. But I appreciate your offer. Thank you so much. And if you have other things to share, I'm really curious. Let's see. So, film. So, what I'm hoping to do, and I really need to get out and shoot more film to make that happen. I had some really lofty goals at the beginning of the year, and life got in the way. I know it's been a few weeks since I've made my last video, but I'm hopefully making up for it tonight. Actually, probably going to do this for about another, I'm going to give about another probably 10 minutes, and then I'm going to have to call it quits. But any other questions? Anything else that people are interested in or want to know? Feel free to drop it in the chat. So, film photography, just to give you a little background, I was lucky enough to have a school that encouraged photography. And in grade school, I had a teacher that gave us a pinhole camera and taught us how to do that whole process. We used an oatmeal box, it's a cylindrical box. We just created that pinhole camera, had a undeveloped piece of photo paper we put at the bottom with tin foil as our reflector, our mirror. And that pinhole was my first experience, and we got to go into a dark room and create our images, and watching that happen was magic. And then my middle school had a dark room, so I was involved in yearbook and other things, and actually developing images in middle school, and then carried that on into high school. And my mom always had great cameras. She was one of those people that would buy a camera, hardly ever use it. So I had access to great film cameras. We had a Canon TX. I have her old Minolta still, but she always had great film cameras. So I have always worked with film. And then in Lake Tahoe, I actually managed a film lab, and that cheesy buoy photo. I don't know if you've ever been on a boat and they take that photo of you before you get on the boat. We actually did that with film cameras. We would run back to the lab, and then people would go out on the boat. When they got back, we would have an 8x10 waiting for them to purchase, and we would have to develop the film, process it, print it. We had industrial size printers to make that happen. So let's see. It looks like there might be another question. David, let's see. This has been an absolute blast, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I need to go to work to make the pennies to continue my photography passion. Love it. I appreciate you, David. Thanks for joining in. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to be heading off to bed here in a little bit. So this isn't going to go on for very much longer. I appreciate you hanging out. Thanks again. You kind of started it off tonight. So thank you. So let's see. So, a more funny question regarding the workflow. I had myself often in a situation that I have 150 plus images waiting to be edited, and it takes time, some time. So I guess I'm trying to figure out what the question is. Are you trying to like speed up your process? Oh, it's that kind of like frozen, like not sure what to do and not how to edit them. Is that kind of the gist? I appreciate in real time doing this. Time priority, yeah. So I don't know if you maybe take a lunch break or do something else where maybe it's time to kind of just sit and relax for a moment. I'm not sure if you're working on a desktop or a regular computer. I just dive in whenever I have time. So if I have a free moment, I'm launching them. I've got kids. I've got a wife. I've got, a full-time job. I'm doing it during my lunch break. I'm doing it late at night like this. So when everybody goes to bed, everybody's in bed by around 10 o'clock and I've got the rest of the night to myself. I may stay up late editing, looking at images, or I'm lucky I've got a Monday all to myself where everybody's kind of out of the house at school and work, and I've got the whole house to myself, and I just dive into it. And I cull my images first, which means I just go through, pick the ones that I like, and I'm going to star those in Lightroom, and then I go back to the ones that I really want to edit, and then I edit those. And then if I want to go back, I can always go back and look at the others to see if maybe I missed something, and I pull another image in or another 5 images. It depends, but just they say you can't, or what's the saying? I'm trying to remember. Terrible at this saying, but uh, yeah, how many bites does it take to eat an elephant? It's one at a time. Is the process. So with those images, just pick one, edit one image, and then when you're done with that image, move on to another image. You don't have to do anything in any particular order. It's whatever works for you, and whatever's going to get you in front of that computer and doing that editing. Go for it. Don't let what you think everybody else is doing. I don't know if that's what's going on, but if you're worried about what everybody else is doing and how they're getting it all done, don't worry about that. Just do it for yourself. Pick one image, edit it. Maybe pick 3 images, edit them, go back. They're not going anywhere. They're always going to be there. You can always jump into them to edit them. Now, if it's a specific project, that's one of those things where I jump right on it. So if I come home from a photo shoot, I'm actually going to load those right away. I put them into Lightroom and I cull them right away. That way I've got them all set. That way, when I'm on a lunch break, things like that, I've got them to go ahead and edit the ones that I really want. So I don't know if that helps you at all. Cool. Well, hopefully I helped a little bit. I don't know if I went on too long, but yeah. So everything has a process. So this has gone on a lot longer than I ever imagined. I want to thank everybody for coming in. I actually have to get to bed. I've got to get up early for work tomorrow. But I want to thank all of you for joining me in this first live. And I'm just going to post it as is, see if it generates a thumbnail. Might alter the thumbnail a bit, but this has been a blast. And this seems like it's actually working. So let's see. Thank you so much. You have a great night as well. And take care, guys. Once again, till next time, take care.